Good morning, Diana.
Morning, Latte.
How are you?
Very, I'm alive in Kenya. You're paying tax.
You're fiery. I like your hair.
I know.
Thank you.
Those French curls.
Yes. Are they? They're called French curls?
French curl braids.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you call that?
I have no idea. I would have said ponytail or something like that. Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Inakapoa sana.
Asante. Sengine unadunga luku, then you come and deal with the chaos that
With the
are in
chaos.
Kenya. Yeah.
Tunasemanga, you must never look like your problem. Never
Right?
look like your problem.
Exactly.
As a Kenyan, usitoke nyumbani bila kupiga luku, please. Don't look like your problem.
Jushida mimingi.
Yeah. Every day you look disheveled. So just piga luku.
Kindly.
The rest will figure itself out.
Ishodi chocha.
Hey, Jano.
Yes.
Hebu karibisha Diana na quote ya leo.
Acha tumkaribishe. The quote today is from Dr. Martin Luther King.
Okay.
In the 60s, when he was speaking to a group of students in university, he told them, the time is always right to do what is right.
Okay.
What do you make of that? The time is always right to do what is right.
Wow. It feels like we've been convicted. If our things are not going right, time was always right. It is our actions and that are wrong. Time is never wrong. Yeah, it is our actions. Yeah, and I
Time
think
is never wrong, it is our actions. Who said that? Sasa me fanya continuation. Time is never wrong, it is our actions. That's a really good way of summing up what he, I think in many ways, was saying. Hiyo imekushika.
The time is always right to do the right thing. So if you find that you've done the wrong thing,
It's your actions.
It is you.
It's not time.
It is not time.
were,
It was not
you
the
were.
wrong
It was
time.
not the
It was the
wrong
wrong
time.
action.
yes.
Okay.
okay. So Diana, the president had a
Diana,
fairly
okay.
incompetent attorney general.
Oh,
This is what the president said.
that's okay.
That when he first constituted his cabinet in 2022,
Okay.
he gave somebody a job to be the attorney general,
Yes.
the principal advisor, legal advisor to the government.
Yes.
And the person was sitting in cabinet. The person was sitting in the National Security Council. The person was advising on all contracts signed by the government of Kenya on behalf of the people of Kenya.
Okay.
The person was advising on everything. And then at some point he realized, I didn't have the right guy. So he found him to be completely incompetent. So he gave him lighter duties to be the cabinet secretary in charge of the public service of the Republic of Kenya. And now he's realized, he has fired him.
You're still fairly incompetent.
Okay.
What do you make of that? Are you
This is
shocked? You look like you're surprised. Like you just landed in Kenya from some other far country and you're hearing this story.
You know, I honestly have a problem with the judgment of the president. The judgment of the president is what we must question. You do not find somebody incompetent, then you redesignate them to manage the entire
Public service.
public service, where we are supposed to have all recruitments. How many state departments? How many state departments?
56.
56, because
If the president cannot fire incompetent people, then he shouldn't be our leader. We do not deserve such a leader. And you know, he's done this through and through. He came before us in June and said he has dismissed his cabinet. And when you dismiss, it's for discipline. Yeah? It's disciplinary. And he has the overall mandate. The cabinet is answerable to him collectively and individually. So when he tells us he has dismissed, he's their boss. He knows they have not been competent. So he redeployed all those people, Duale from defense to environment and now to health. Okay? The CS defense from really? Is that what you're telling us, Murkomen?
From
We do not, then the problem is not even Muturi. The bigger problem we have is a president who cannot hire competent staff, who cannot supervise a cabinet. that can serve Kenya's interest.
Yeah, because it's platforming loyalty and reward over competence, which then we were saying earlier, for me, I think the biggest concern is seeping into how it takes us away from even prioritizing urgent national issues, because it's almost like a game of musical chairs. And then the bigger worry is now the docket you hold, which you've just come into after barely being in yours for a year. And this is what, health, security, really huge dockets. I keep going back to what's going to happen. I know we talked about the policies. I know we talked about implementation.
Right.
I think that's what we need to interrogate. But it's obviously it's a show of reward.
Yeah.
So it's a reward system at the expense of competence in being able to carry out your responsibilities.
But our values of what we need in the public service, the first one is meritocracy. We value merit. So if our president values loyalty, yesterday I was in a meeting where people are reciting the loyalty pledge and wondering where it disappeared.
We talked about that.
I've touched my pearls. My pearls. The loyalty pledge was very messed up, guys. What were we saying?
Exactly.
I pledge my loyalty to the president
and the Republic. It was a song.
My readiness and duty to defend the flag of our republic. That part is okay.
My readiness, no?
To defend the flag of our republic.
devotion.
My devotion to the words of our national anthem. And the national philosophy, Nyayo.
Of peace, love, and
unity.
She's even sang it for us.
What are we saying? This is indoctrination, but that's a story for another day.
So you were saying you were having that discussion yesterday.
We were having that discussion and saying we shifted from loyalty to the president. Our loyalty and fidelity is to the Constitution. It is to our national values and principle. Patriotism is a principle, not loyalty. Those two are very different. The president must hire, if he's to continue in office for us, people who are patriots. Patriots give their all. If a patriot realizes they can no longer serve honorably in any position, they resign to allow other competent Kenyans to come on board. So here, the problem, the president is actually ashamed to come and tell us all those things. And so you've been using our tax money to pay incompetent people for this long.
Why is it a thing in the public service in general that people just don't get fired? It's when they say permanent and pensionable, they really mean permanent and pension. You're like, and I used this example yesterday. You're an incompetent OCS. You're just
transferred.
Transferred. Why do you become someone else's problem now? But that's not reward at OCS level. That one is just, for some reason, we are incapable of firing people in the public service in whatever form.
In whatever level.
Yes. So it's just, you become the next person's problem. Let's take you to Elgeyo Marakwet. Why should you become now incompetent in Elgeyo Marakwet? Now that you're unable to do your job on Jogo Road.
I think it's a culture that we have created in this country, and one that takes away even from our very good civil servants, because we have extremely competent and committed technocrats within the police service, within the public service, and so on. But over time, I don't know. It's called what? Is it a form of camaraderie? Like next time it will be me. Okay? But we also, within the public service and our civil service, we've never created a proper performance evaluation. Because if we did, it would be natural to know who is going to be the next principal secretary.
Yep.
It would be the most competent person who over the years has delivered for that particular docket. But because we do not have an elaborate performance mechanism, remember the president announced, we have given them performance contract, they will be performing. Where is the score? Where is that particular scorecard? Because with that, we would easily know. He would have first presented that. Then based on that, we even open a process of public participation to tell him, you know how we do 360. You've scored them this way, but let us help you score so and so. So that is something that ought to have been put in place by the Public Service Commission. And I do agree it's a very bad culture, because as TISA, we've petitioned several for a number of people. Public service, these people are not delivering. Call them. Goodness, the hearing takes 5 years. By the time it is over, they have been appointed to even more powerful positions where they can easily intimidate us. And it has almost become a criteria. You must have some baggage. Okay? If you're extremely competent, you have integrity, you're problematic.
There's no string to pull on.
No.
No leverage.
No, all you'll say is, these are my skills. This is what you're presenting. I resign. And when you resign like that, it is even a problem. They will say, no. He didn't. He was actually in office illegally. You didn't see. They will fake letters.
Fired him.
You know. So these are some of the things that we need to shift. But it doesn't help, because this oversight ought to be with Parliament. How comes parliamentarians never see the problems you people see on this show?
Let me tell you something. We are very good at pretending as a country. You know, all of us, where we are at with our public service, with all our public officers, which includes the state officers, is a reflection of our bad manners. Now, we may go back and start asking ourselves how we started injecting these bad manners into our bloodstream.
Yes.
But this is what we have. We have gotten to a level where we do not, as human beings, promote competence in public service. We do not. All of us, watch out now, those in office, all of us do not. That's why those in public service behave the way they do.
They do.
Because they are not the decision makers, they're just those in public service.
Yeah.
They are behaving this way because I know I'm permanent, I'm pensionable. We keep arguing, no, we should not fire them. The next thing, everybody wants to get a job in public service. When look at the new PSs who are appointed. Go into WhatsApp groups where those PSs are, and you'll find, oh, congratulations, oh, congratulations, oh, congratulations. Look at the IEBC commissioners. When they get appointed, oh, congratulations. Oh, when you meet them and you meet some of them that you know, congratulations. We all want to get into public service. Why? Because you can see this is a Kagrevi train.
Brought experts.
It's a Kagrevi train. We want to get there.
We'll get there.
Who is we? I don't speak French.
It's a Kagrevi train.
So who is this who has these bad manners by all of us?
Yeah.
As a culture, as a country, our culture is loyalty or rewarding over competence.
Yes.
Blanket condemnation, though, Eric. I think
absolutely. I deliberately blanket condemn all of us because I do not hear noises of people saying this person joined the public service. We want to squeeze Alianda County. No, this person should not be working in public service. Go to a village today and you hear nani aliingia as MCA ameandika watu kwa hii village. Where? Into public service. And you're like, that's the guy. Have you ever gone to any part of this country and heard people saying, protesting, that this person is taking too many people, incompetent people from our village and taking them to NYS?
He got us
taking them
there.
to be teachers.
He got us good there. I think that's got something to do with either power dynamics. I know it's not an excuse, it's an explanation. And feeling like if I amplify, I'll be isolated.
Yeah.
It has to be as collective. And I think it speaks a little bit to what he's saying. Sometimes people want to amplify that, but they're a select few. Okay, so then what happens when you do that? I want to ask a question just before we move on is, what are your thoughts on the, may sound obvious, but I still want to hear your thoughts on the long-term implications of these reshuffles, especially on governance, policy implementation. What are your one or two greatest concerns with regards to the reshuffles and the implications in the long term?
Failure.
Failure.
Yeah. Complacency just begets failure. That's where we are headed. We are already doing so badly on security matters, our foreign affairs matters, health, education. Where are we doing well? We're still drafting good laws. We are doing good audits. There are good audit reports that are showing their that's maybe the closest we can come. But the minute you do this, you are, you may even be reinforcing this blanket condemnation that Eric is saying. Because with time, nobody will desire, if you think you have the requisite skills, character, and values, then the civil service, the public service is not your place. We are creating a goon state. Okay? We are creating nearly a mafia where if you want to bring your worst in leadership, come lead the country. There you are safe. That is not what the nation wants at all. And I want to go back and say, Kenyans have taken up steps. There have been times where chief officers in, I think I know of Isiolo, Meru, even MCAs have been exposed. Like what you're doing may look good, but just follow the process. And they've been reported to the county Assembly Public Service Board. When appointments are made at national level, there's a group of Kenyans, they are maybe not more than 30, but they are permanently writing affidavit.
Yep.
So-and-so is not qualified.
Not qualified
Then
for this.
immediately those affidavits are shelved by the members of parliament. There is a core group. But if you look at what happened last year in June and the demands that Kenyans were making, you realize we know that it is not working, it is wrong, and we know that we must shift to this particular culture of competency, of integrity, of merit, and so on.
We know what is right.
Yes.
Quote?
The time?
It was always a good time to do what is right.
Right, yes.
So if you have not done what is right, it is not the time that's the problem.
Yes.
It's your actions.
Let's take a break. It's 7:30. Diana Gichengo, the National Coordinator at the Institute for Social Accountability, they call it TISA, is our guest this morning. We are reviewing what happened yesterday, the mini reshuffle, and also looking at the interviews that have happened so far for the IEBC chairperson and the others that continue for the IEBC commissioners. We'll be back shortly. So of the 11 candidates who were shortlisted and interviewed for the position of the next chairperson of the IEBC, 2 names will be presented to the president for consideration, and 1 will be forwarded to parliament as nominee. Did any of them tick the boxes for you? Yeah, you're on the spot. This is social accountability right here. You don't have to say the names. You can just say you saw some. But it would be nice if you had the name.
She's taken a deep breath. She's done a so help me God mentally.
You know, it is Ramadan, it is Lent. We speak less. What will I
We
say?
listen, we don't judge. But this one we need to judge. This one we judge.
Because it's on all of us.
Yeah.
Everything about the IBC commissioner selection just feels off. From the panel that is questionable, you have people who are advisors to the president, who are affiliated to political parties. And then we've had all these matters in court around integrity, rule of law. Then we wait just when we have a very bonded, bread-based government, we are ready to appoint commissioners. All of a sudden there is consensus. Already, for us Kenyans who are wondering what else can this political class bring us, that tells you their doubts. And then we go and dig. We wait for people who, because the next bunch of commissioners, we want people who are tech savvies, who are innovators. Ultimately, people who have integrity, who will be called to, let me not use those names, let me just say to a high office, and they will say, this is what my duty is. And we will know when they are called, this is what they will say. If it's not, that's not the case, they'll come and resign. That's the level of confidence we need in the next IEBC. We need people who can overhaul the electoral system. You know, the ballot paper is the most expensive paper produced in Kenya, not money. A ballot paper. the security features that are required, make it very, very a single ballot paper. It doesn't have to be that way. How do we vote? I'm a member of the Law Society. How do we vote? How do you vote in your chama? It's not that expensive. So we need somebody who can even make the cost of voting go down, but the integrity remains.
And to your point, Kenya's elections are some of the most expensive in the world.
Exactly.
Especially compared to our GDP.
GDP, and currently we are even struggling. This year we'll have very many. So when you think about all that, you would have expected somebody who makes us feel so confident, somebody who the Gen Zs are like, this one understands us, understands the things we would need to take part in the next election. We'll be able to speak and say, we tried to register people in this area and looked like there was voter suppression. Do I see anybody who gives me that level of confidence? Not yet. I would need to dig deeper, but no, not yet. In the long list or the general list of people who applied, there were people I think who had more merit, who would have inspired more confidence. But as most of the people who've written their memoirs after being with the IBC or taking up state appointments, clearly there is the weight you carry. You must have certain political backing to get to that level of being nominated. And is IEBC a retirement place? That's also my other question. People who've served in certain positions, retired, then in their retirement, they come and run our elections. Surely, why?
Some might argue you're bringing experience, expertise. Some might argue, bring those people. They're the ones who've had a wide scope and breadth of all of the issues that we've had as a country. Some of them are in the legal profession. So yeah, if they've done 20 years, then surely these are the kind of people that we need to have.
Look at the leadership of corporates, our banking industry, communication, even media houses.
Look at the people who sit on the boards, because that's what the high commissioners are. Look at the chairpersons of boards of our corporates. What's the average age, Diana?
It's 50 to 70.
There you go.
But look at there's a very big difference in commissioners, because unlike boards do not run their affairs over an institution. The IEBC, nothing moves without the commissioners. So these are executive board members who are very, very different from these other type of board members. But definitely there's also a problem with these entire corporate boards. The board of TISA is not like that, by the way. The board of TISA has very young people, the people who are the working class in this country.
Something to rethink for sure. Why are board members 50 to 70? But I just want to go back on something you said about is that someone that young people would look at and be like, hey, I feel seen, I feel heard. The voter apathy that we saw in the last election is a big issue. Still is now. Do you think anyone that you saw has a chance of perhaps undoing some of that voter apathy, whether it's through civic education, whether it's through drives? Is there anyone who could perhaps get young people to come out and vote? And I don't mean a political leader, I mean from a policy standpoint, an IBC standpoint.
Not yet. But some of them, I may not know them that well. There are people who've been appointed and then they have inspired confidence in their work after their appointment. So I won't
dismiss. But from the interviews, did anyone sound like
the ideas of tech? People spoke very well. These people, have you ever applied for a state job? How you're prepared? How you're prepared? If like now I am shortlisted, all of you will get me into a boardroom. coach me, prepare me, so you'll say the right thing. Do they mean it? I hope so. But there were some of the things that were brought forward around the use of technology, how they will go about voter registration and the verification of the voter register. If implemented collectively, that would inspire confidence. But where we are is really low. It is extremely low. By the time over 40% of the registered, 8 out of 20, that was a very high number of people to boycott. And I'm told when you add, we had 22 registered voters, yet 30 million. Yes, 22 million, then 30 million were of age. So there's another close to 7-8 million that decided I am not even going to go and apply to be a voter in this country. That's a very high number. And for us to shift the dynamics, there are all these jokes that Gen Zs will take their parents' ID, but unless that shifts and the people who are not registered, who are thinking differently, come and go and cast their ballot, we are not going to make headways. Otherwise, the people who are good at mobilizing politically will mobilize people they control to come and vote, as opposed to people who will come very, very objectively. Right. Then, if you recall, the last election that we had that was not contested was
22?
2002.
2002, yes.
2002.
Yeah.
That's a whole 23 years. There's somebody who's coming in for the first time hoping to vote, but every election that they have heard of was contested.
Yeah.
And the contestation keeps going, like 2022, for the lawyers who are litigants around electoral matters, they were not even bothered. They were like, now, what other new bar do you want us to set? Clearly, the IEBC will not meet it.
Why?
Okay? So you no longer even go to look for recourse. I think that is why it is so natural for whoever fails, whoever becomes second, to immediately go and look for a handshake, a fist bump, and get into power. Because if we use the means of the rule of law, of justice, they just don't work. And you can imagine after 2017, we would have expected the IBC to clean up. The commissioners who are going to come in will come in with less than, by the time we complete this process, maybe it will be almost 24 months to the next general election. They have to do the audit of the previous election, start their procurement. Every time we must change the technology. We move from this one company, from Pakistan to Korea to China to France to wherever. Then now we must get a new technology. We must create new security marks for our ballot papers.
Why must we?
Because new is considered integrity.
By who?
By the people who get into power and want to convince us.
Who?
So they'll say like ballot papers were pre-marked or something. You know?
Yeah, to avoid being pre-marked, for anybody in River Road to make them again.
So you have to
we
start
are
afresh.
going to start afresh. We never build on anything else.
My
so
conspiracy theory, Diana. Okay. Mama Parsen, let's call it Mama Nyanyika. Mama Nyanyika is a lady I know in Kimana. Okay? Mama Nyanyika has participated in elections, all those elections.
Yes.
Even the next one, God willing, she will participate. Mama Nyanyika has no problem going to the primary school, has no problem queuing, being told, Mama, your classroom is that one based on your name, so this is your polling station. Being identified, picking the ballots and casting the ballots and going back home. She does not check security feature. She doesn't. She does not go and check who are the agents in this room. I don't know, you get out. She does not. When she goes back home and she's told that your son, Peter Parsen, who was a candidate, has not won, Mama Nyanyika does not say at you, let's go to the street.
she prays.
She accepts, okay, this time he didn't win, as the MCA. The other person won. She's told so-and-so is the MP. She's told so-and-so is... She's okay.
Yes.
Until these guys at the very top who are campaigning for their one seat called the presidential election start coming to say, oh, you know, there was a problem with that election. The IEBC had problems. Then she starts thinking, by the way, there was a problem. She actually doesn't have a problem.
Yeah.
And the money that is spent in all these things, my conspiracy now comes in, is all these billions are billions that are controlled by this small cabal of people who are in the presidential campaign, and they probably use it for the presidential campaign anyway. And then they come and tell us integrity of the IEBC.
Yes.
We don't have a problem with the IEBC. We should identify our problem. Our problem is those that are trying to become our president. They succeed, they fail, they steal. The one who steals better if that's what they do. Those are the problem.
Luckily, if that is correct, the IEBC is the one that clears presidential candidates. And they ought to clear them on the bar of ethical leadership. People who would bring honor and respect to the office. But they've always shied away. Then our courts even interpreted, it doesn't matter what you're accused of. Pedophilia or crimes against humanity, no. We don't see until there is a conviction. That right there is the problem. They therefore get into power not only to control the millions, but to cover up for all the baggage that they bring to leadership. But that is also a problem of IEBC. If the commissioners that we've had over the years would have ensured that we adhere to the integrity bar set by the Constitution, we wouldn't be where we are right now. Be it governors, be it all these MPs, including the ones who are easily promoted to cabinet, we would not be here. It is a character problem. And to be honest, there is rigging at all levels. I have taken part in election monitoring and thereafter interviewing observers, agents, and even former elections officials. They tell you we managed to rig for this MP against these other ones. And how that rigging is done is so it's crazy. Some of it is not yet properly documented, but it doesn't have to be that way. Because how many times do we who conduct survey just click and nobody needs to interfere with the results? If anything, we can be streaming results the whole day. Yeah. We can be streaming results the whole day. When everybody, you go and vote and it's biometric, stream it. We start knowing in my polling station, which is also my school, for those of us who studied in polling stations, you're able to track it. It's a character issue. And until we correct that from the, I don't know, is it top down? Is it possible for it to be done bottom up so that Mama Mama Nyanyika is the one who is driving this particular process and becomes invested enough without the security features. Without the security features. It can even get to a place where we should be so comfortable to print the amount of money used in transporting ballot papers from here in Nairobi across. So we create business. Tuma kila mtu wa print kwa saiba ya kwao. We pay them. We even distribute this money that is used. That way there will be no people stuck in Dubai because the warehouse delayed the time when they were supposed to verify ballot papers. Everybody will be sending their agents to the local cyber.
How do we get there?
It is, we must value. We must get to a level of valuing and loving this country to protect our country the same way we protect chamas.
So if you look at the
will take it to that lowest level, the way we protect chama. Erica, are you in a chama?
course, everybody's in a chama.
Okay.
Not party, right?
Yeah, not
Chama.
Not chama.
Not chama.
Chama.
Yeah.
Clarify, it's important.
How we protect our chamas, whether you're running it through our WhatsApp group, whether it's the people who are in market, Diana is the one who collects. You usually find all of them by 5. You're meeting the deadline. Because the communal accountability that comes with that, you do not want to go against it.
Exactly.
Until we get to that level of communal accountability, that by the time somebody is presenting themselves to be the commissioner, they know we are waiting for them out there. What you said, we won't congratulate them. We'll tell them, how dare you try and go for that position, and all you want is more money.
Right.
And they will think, and we will get a different country.
So it's a commonwealth. That the integrity of this electoral body will depend on the commonwealth actually holding it to account.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That all of us then participate in, first of all, vetting the guys who have applied, in seeing that the right people are getting the job, and then beyond that saying, so you have the job.
Yeah.
Sawa. Let's even say that Diana, you were number 3 candidate. Here you are, number 1 had issues, number 2 had... Here you are, you've gotten the job. But also we continue holding you to account and saying, this is what we expect of you.
Of you.
Right?
Yeah.
And even when if you go and you don't do it, we come and tell you this is what you should have done. You don't do it. But the final ultimate decision of an election is on the voter.
Right.
Yes.
So even if you bring a thug to the ballot, I will not vote for the thug.
Yes. What if all of them are thugs?
I will not vote for any of them.
And it means when we get to that level, we will go back and tell the IBC, how dare you bring us thugs to the ballot paper.
Yeah, you're given that
when
MPs in the ballot, you don't mark it, put it. All of you don't mark it, don't mark it, don't mark it.
There is nobody who's been elected.
So let's
beautiful.
go back into this election.
Yeah.
Let's start again. And we are saying the reason why we did not mark this ballot is because you put thugs. Diana, at 9 a.m., we'll be asking people to call in and tell us what they think of the interviews so far and what they expect of the candidates who then become the commissioners and chairperson of the IEBC. But thank you for joining us.
You're very, very welcome. May Kenya be functional chama. You know, chamas don't even you don't get debt and bankrupt. All these problems we have.
You just buy shambas, build.
Imagine, and you prosper.
And you prosper.
Why can't we run this nation that way? Please,
Fixing the nation, one conversation at a time. We are live on Nation FM and NTV and all our digital media platforms. Keep it here for the next hour. We're going to give somebody the mic. It's 8 a.m.